for you today. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. I'm so excited that you joined us today. Today I'm going to make an arrangement of sunflowers in just a glass cylinder vase. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by greening out my vase. I'll start with just some leather leaf. And I am going to take my leather leaf and just green out this vase. Some designers don't like to green first. For me, greening makes it so much easier to place the flowers, and the flowers stand up in a position where they'll stay. So I always like to use greenery first. So I'm just taking my greenery and I'm cutting it and tucking it right down into this glass vase. When I got started, I started out with a glass vase and fresh water with a little bit of flower preservative or flower food. This helps the flowers to stay longer, to last longer. The first foliage that I used is leather leaf, and then the second foliage I'm just going to use some variegated pittosporum. I like to use different foliages just because it gives a different texture. And it just makes for a prettier arrangement to me. And then the third foliage I'm going to use, this is called Israeli Ruscus. Israeli Ruscus is a good line foliage. It's fairly inexpensive, and so I always like to use a little bit of Israeli just to give a little bit of a different texture. To use a little bit of leaf shine. I'm going to shine that foliage up a little bit. I'm going to use 9 sunflowers, and we've got what we would call the mini sunflowers. There is a sunflower that is smaller than this sunflower, and it's almost the size of a quarter. To me, it's far too small, but this one's just a great size. It's not too big, but not too tiny either. So I am going to wire the heads of these sunflowers so that they will stand up straight and kind of do what I tell them to. I'm just going to take a 21 gauge wire that I've cut in half, and I'm going to tuck it into that stem and go all the way around. And I'm going to wire every one of these sunflowers. I find that if you wire a flower, it causes it to last longer. It keeps that head upright, and the flowers just seem to last longer. Some florists do not care anything about wiring flowers. To me, I just find it's important. I just know that their heads are not going to dip if I wire them. Okay, so I'm going to take the sunflowers and I'm going to start with my tallest sunflower first. And then I'm going to work all the way around. It's almost arranged like a dozen roses or a half dozen roses, where you'll just kind of stagger them down. You'll have a tall one and then kind of stagger all the way around. Sometimes you will find that, say I've got this tallest one and I know I want to stagger that, I want it to come down a little lower. So I will just kind of measure on the table, on the vase, to kind of see how I need to cut, how much stem I need to cut off of that flower. And that way I'll kind of know that the flower, is going to hit in about the right spot. But I'm just going to turn the arrangement, cut the flowers at their length, and just kind of tuck them in. So you can kind of see that it looks a whole lot like what a dozen roses would look like. And then with the sunflowers, because I placed the wire in them, I can kind of bend their heads so that they're kind of facing out instead of just facing up. So I've put my sunflowers in the arrangement. Now I'm going to take some solid Eggo. And I'm going to fill in between those sunflowers. This is a very simple arrangement. It can be made with any types of flowers. It doesn't necessarily have to be sunflowers, or it doesn't necessarily have to be all roses. It can be all of the same type of flower. So you could do this with Gerbera daisies, you could do it with carnations, you can do it with any types of flowers, just as long as they're all the same flower. But it's a very simple but very pretty arrangement. And this can be done, you can buy your flowers at your local flower shop, like Flowers by the Bunch, or you could go to a local grocery store, or even if you have something like zinnias growing in your yard, you can cut zinnias and do it in the same way. It's just kind of an all the way arrangement. And then I'm going to take some ribbon and I am going to tie a bow. So I like to take ribbon. I like to take two types of ribbon and kind of overlay the ribbon. So I'm going to take the first type is just, it's kind of a sheer, but it's a mesh type ribbon. And I am going to make a few loops. I like to make 3. So you can see how I've got 3 different loops. And then I'm going to take a sunflower. It's a burlap with a sunflower print. And I'm going to place that right behind my mesh ribbon, and I'm going to do 3 more loops. And then I'm going to take a good pair of scissors and cut it at an angle. And in another video, I will do a video tutorial of how to tie a bow. I get asked often, how do you tie bows so fast, or how do you tie bows, and I'll be happy to show you. I also want you, if you have any questions or any comments, or even something that you'd like to learn, we would love for you to give us some comments. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you think about our videos and how we're doing. I'm going to take a wood pick. This wood pick has a little wire on it, and I'm going to place this bow. The wire that I tied the bow off with, I'm going to place on that wire pick. And just put it around it so that it's going to stay on that pick. And then this pick is going to tuck over into the base of the flowers. All right, guys, and that's our sunflower arrangement for the day. Hope you enjoyed our video.